Hi, welcome to my channel. Tools, tips, and tales. Tools to transform, tips to empower, and tales to inspire. I'm Kim Saft, licensed clinical social worker. I have my doctorate in transpersonal psychology. I've been doing this for over 2 decades, and this is me helping you transform your life. Nice. All right, so I want to talk to you today about how it's easier to do your work than avoiding it. All right, so we started talking about lids. And lids are the way we keep all the crud we feel about ourselves down that lives in our pit. We use lids, right? Keep all that stuff down. And the lids are anything that we do when their function is to avoid, deny, check out, escape. Yeah, not deal with the stuff that's in my pit. And remember, the stuff that's in my pit are how I feel about myself coming out of my family of origin. Any wounds I had in my family of origin where I feel like I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm responsible for all that is wrong, I'm at fault, I'm not smart, I'm ugly. You can go on and on and on. I'm responsible for the abuse, trauma, or neglect from my family of origin. I'm responsible for it. All this kind of gunk, all these distorted messages, they live in our fear side and they live in our pit. Right? It's the domain of our fear and insecure side, and they live in our pit. And the way our fear and insecure side keeps all that stuff down is then they have us using lids, because they say, oh, you can't handle that. You can't deal with that. Avoid that. Check out from that. Escape that. Deny that. Right? So our fear and insecure side has us avoiding dealing with what's in our pit, points of shame, trauma, neglect, all kinds of stuff that people don't really want to look at, right? All right. So then we started talking about how I've never really had anyone that has an addiction tell me it's a good time. Yeah, because it's not. Right? The good times, joy, fun, frivolity, that's the land of the authentic. All right? That's my authentic side. It says, I know I'm enough. I'm in the present moment. I'm feeling joy. Yeah, that's my authentic. That is not my fear and insecure side. My fear and insecure side does not know joy. So lids, the land of the fear and insecure, addiction, habit, overkill, not a good time. All right. All right, so here's the thing. People will spend decades, did you hear that right? Decades avoiding doing their work. And they're all being driven by their fear and insecure side. And at the root is the belief that I'm not enough. I can't. Won't be able to. Not successful. I'm a failure. I'm a loser, right? All that gunk. I can go on and on and on. I hear it from clients all the time. Aww. But that's at the root of the fear and insecure side. Okay? And that's what propels the avoidance with the lids. I met with a couple the other day in their 80s. And you know what we're talking about? We're talking about the wounds from their families of origin. 80 years ago. 80 years ago. I felt for them so much because they were in pain. Their adult children were in pain. And then their adult children's children were in pain. All from people avoiding doing their work. It's a waste. It's such a waste of a good life. It's such a waste of joy, right? We're not feeling joy because we're living on our fear and insecure side because we're avoiding doing our work. And I'm telling you, I've never had a client tell me it was harder to do the work than it was to avoid it. I've just never heard it, ever. When we start doing this work, it starts rolling on itself. It makes sense. You've probably never been afforded a new way of understanding yourself, your past, your traumas, your old gunky messages. You've probably never been given a new education or a new way of thinking about all this. And instead, your fear and insecure side's been driving the whole time. No. We can't have our fear and insecure side driving all the time. We live into our pit and live in lids. Ugh. No. Authentic side. And so when I talk about doing our work, Doing our work to me is just learning to make sense of all that I am without judgment and with compassion. Yeah, just making sense of all this. My past, the messages I took, how they show up in me today, whether that's working for me or working me. We're just kind of bird's eye view, getting a new understanding of the puzzle pieces that I am and figuring out what works for the me of today. Now that is good work to do. That leads us into joy. All right, so that's my tip for the day. Do your work. I must have said this line 9 million zillion times in my life already. But everybody's responsible to do their own work. Nobody else can do it for you. No one else could reap you the rewards of doing your work. It feels so good to live into your authentic side and live into a place of joy. It's worth it. It's so much easier to do the work than to avoid it. So that's my tip. Do your work. All right. Next time.